Cool. So I think now I'm live. Yeah, perfect. So let's get started. Sorry for the delay, guys. I think now I'm live, right? There's no issue in this. So let's get started. So we are in our lesson number 27, right? Which is project on forms. So we are going to see one project properly on forms. We are going to understand how these forms work, and we are going to create one registration form also, right? Okay. So if you guys do not know what's happening here, so let me tell you about this, right? This is basically a playlist which is continued by me. My name is Ritwik Raj, and I'm going to introduce you in just a while. But before that, I just want to inform you that what's going on here. This is basically a playlist which we are designing and we are creating for free, and that is for front-end development. So if you want to become a front-end developer or a web developer, then this is the playlist which you have to follow. Now in this playlist, we just started in October month, and we are covering all the basic stuffs first, and then we're also going to cover some frameworks and libraries. So right now we are just completing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, which is, we are covering simultaneously. So JavaScript is happening at 4 to 5 p.m. and then at night 8 to 10:15 HTML and CSS is going on, right? So with that, we are in our lesson number 27, which is on project on forms, which is coming under HTML, right? So talking about me, if you don't know who is me, then my name is Ritwik Raj and I'm a corporate trainer. I've also worked as a content strategist and a research analyst and a subject matter expert in many of the edtech companies. I have 3+ years of teaching experience and I have trained graduates and corporate employees from Edison and Capgemini. And I've trained more than 30K students till now, which is increasing day by day. The subjects which I take is mostly into front-end development, back-end development, and database languages. Mostly full stack development, and I also do take or tell you guidance or guide you in interview preparation as well. So soon I'll be coming with a session on interview tips and tricks as well. Now I have a very good news for you, which is you can use my code, which is RIT10, to get a free Relevel sample test paper. If you don't know what is Relevel, then I will tell you right away what is it, because some of you are new here, so you won't be knowing what is basically this Relevel, right? So I'll tell you about Relevel also, but before that, let me tell you that if you guys already know Relevel and maybe you have appeared for the test 1 month back, then you can use a IT10 coupon and you can get free level sample test paper. Okay. So let me tell you what is actually level. Now, many of the students basically, are from tier 3 college and they do not get opportunity in MNC companies, because MNC companies mostly go into tier 1 and tier 2, or product companies go to that colleges. But for your colleges, maybe those companies do not go, and you are applying to 50-60 companies, but companies are not responding back to you, maybe because they're seeing your college and your degree and your other stuffs, right? So what is the solution for this is Relevel. Now what is Relevel? Basically, it's India's first tech hiring platform by Unacademy, which is helping job seekers find their dream jobs. How? On the basis of skills and talent. So if you have the skill, if you have the knowledge, if you have the talent, we are not gonna judge you on your degree or on your college or on what connections do you have, what all else you have achieved. Nothing. We are just going to see whether you have the skill or not. Based on the skill, you'll get a job. How this thing will happen and what is the procedure and what are the benefits you'll get. So let's understand that. So basically you have to give a free test. Again, I'm repeating, it's a free test which you have to give. Once you give this test will be of 1,000 marks. So you have to score above 700, right? So once you score above 700, we'll create a profile for you, and that profile will be sent to all the multinational companies, and then based on that, you'll get interviewed and you will get hired. Now, suppose that you score less than 700, right? Then what will happen? You will get 30 days to reattempt the test. So you can reattempt the test again, right? And over 50+ companies, including top startups and unicorns, are combined with us to get you the job, right? Also, there are 1,000 job positions opened across business development, front end development, and back end development. So you don't have to worry about the job that you will not get it, right? Next is how to register on Relevel. Basically, the link is given in the video description. So if you scroll down in my video, you'll be able to find the link. Just click on it and the link will open Relevel. So you have to just click on it and you have to sign up first of all. Once you sign up, after that, what's going to happen? It will ask you which test you want to give. So you want to give business development. So you have to understand which skill do you have. Do you have better skills on front end or business development or back end? Choose that test and then you can go ahead and select your date of test, right? So when you want to give the test basically, so choose that particular day and then you have to fill your details. Now here is what is very important, where you have to use the coupon. So when you write the full name, email ID, birth year, current state, and then the gender, you have to put the referral code. That's where you put the code, and once you click on create account, you'll be able to get the sample paper and the mock test paper. So you can use my promo code mentioned in the description to get a bonus sample paper for the test. Okay. Once you will do this much, you will be registered for Relevel, and once you are registered, that means you have to get ready for the test. Suppose that you are not ready for the test, right? You want to learn something, you want to upskill yourself, then you can go ahead and see my playlist or see others playlist what they are teaching. So there is DSA going on, Python going on, backend development going on. There are lots of stuff which is happening in our channel. So go ahead and watch all the playlists, see what is happening, see what is the recent topics which we have covered, and go and upskill yourself. Once you upskill yourself, maybe you will get 900 out of 1000, right? So this test is really very important. So go ahead and register. Do not wait, because the slots are really very less and people are more, right? So let's begin with some of the other things. So basically we have the Telegram channel. Please join there, because there itself in the Telegram channel, I'll be giving you all the projects detail, and all the projects which I'll be sharing, all the codes will be shared there. All the notifications when I'm coming live, all those things will be shared there. Also, please hit like in this session, in other sessions also, as you are watching other sessions. If you're liking those sessions, please like it, share it with your friends, so that other people will also know that this content is free and this content is really good. Also, please subscribe to the channel so that you will get notifications in YouTube as well, right? So do not forget to hit the notification bell. Let's get started with the project. So this project is basically on forms, right? That means we need to know all the form tags, correct? So let me show you basically first that what all things we have studied till now. So we have studied about strings today at 4 p.m. and we did so much of coding here and there, right? We understood what is class and object. We understood how to write strings, which all things can be strings, and all those things. But this is not our concern right now. Our concern is forms. So let's open the forms.html. So if you remember, day before yesterday, we understood forms, right? And that was a 2 long hours of session, where in 1 hour, I taught you about forms, what are the different tags you can use. And in the another hour, I taught you what are the input attributes which you can use. So this was the whole program which we wrote, and we understood all of those things, right? So after this, I told you that we will do one project, right? So what is that project and how does it look like? Let's understand that, right? So let me show you how that project looks like. Okay. I'm going to open my Chrome. I hope you can see my Chrome now. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you the output of my project which I will create, right? So 1 second. Okay. So I hope you can see what we are going to create here, right? Now this is only on the 70% of the screen, right? Because in 30% my webcam is there. My webcam is there, right? So you can see in 70%, you can see what kind of registration form is there, and it is not running in the server. It's just that, I've kept it in my desktop, and that's how I'm running it, right? So here you can see that we have also used here CSS, right? And there are some things which you do not know how to work with. If you can see, there are 2 layers of colors here. If you can see and observe, there are 2 layers of color. One is pink behind and one is blue, right? And the another thing is that when I'm actually increasing the size of the page, then the space around the corners are very, very, maintained. So these are equal. If you see this side, if you see that side, both the ways the space is similar, right? So we know that we have used margin and padding, but how we have made it possible that in all the directions it's the same, right? And also, if you see at this particular thing, whenever I am clicking on this, this is giving me a different color. So what I have used here that this is happening, right? So in this current address, it is not happening. Also, we can make it smaller, we can make it bigger. That's all upon me. And there's a radio button which I have used here. There's a select option which I have used here. and there's a password, and also one more thing. So when I'm clicking here, this is written first name here. If you can observe, this is written first name here. If I write something here, then the first name goes off. This I have not taught you, right? And here same thing, you can see. So it indicates that what you have to write, but when I write something, then that goes off, right? So that also we need to learn. This +9 is always constant here. How we can do that? This +9 one is always constant. That means this form is basically for Indian people, right? So how do we do that? And register button, if you see, this is the button which is calling us at register, and this is all green in color, right? So how these things are happening, that's what we are going to see. And without wasting much time, let's begin with the code, right? So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new file here, and I'm just going to write here regform.html. Okay, so this is the page where we'll start creating our registration form. I'll keep open this forms.html because sometimes we need to take help from here, so we'll take help from here. Okay, but this is where we'll see everything. So I'm just going to put up a skeleton, and I'm going to just write here a simple registration form. We know that this particular project is really very simple, right? This is not having much of the things, no creativity, nothing. It's just that we have used CSS, but that's the fact. The project is basically designed in such a way that you should be understanding how to use CSS in a form. Okay, because you have never done that. You have never used CSS in a form, right? Also in a table you have never used CSS, right? So we'll try to see these things because you know CSS how to use, but you have never used in a particular thing. So that's the main motto here. The simple registration form. Cool. Now in the body, we are going to start up with our main thing first of all. So we are going to see some of the things which we require. And if I show you my page, so you can see here, guys, if you're watching, then please give me a live chat. Just say hi, good evening, something, because the live chat is totally empty. There's nothing. I don't even know how many people are watching right now, and even somebody is watching or not. So if you're understanding things, if you're seeing the video, if you're actually doing the code with me in Visual Studio Code, then please say hi. Say that we are doing with you. It'll be really good for me, and I'll be able to do it with you, right? Okay, okay, so in the registration form, we have, very first of all, we have the heading, and then we have the first name, middle name, last name, course, and all, right? So one by one we are going to create this, right? And let's see how we will start up with, right? Okay, so cool. Very first thing which we are going to do here is we are going to create a form. Okay, so let's create a form because the whole page is nothing but a form. So everything will be inside this form, right? Now inside this form, the very first thing which you have seen is nothing but the heading, right? We are going to write the heading. For that, we are going to create a div container so that the heading comes inside that container, okay? And here we are going to write just h1, and here I'm just going to write the student registration form. Cool. This is what is the h1, and that is what I wanted, nothing else, right? Now what I'm going to do, so this div, okay, hi Amit, hi Jitender, hi Freetech, hi Somdatta Chakraborty, good evening. So yeah, I hope you guys are understanding what we are doing here. Now let's go ahead and 1 second. Okay. Okay, fine. Let's save this. Let's first of all, let me show you how does this look like. I was stuck because I was thinking how to bring this in the, yeah. Let me run this particular thing because I think I have not run this in the live server. Okay, now I think you can see this. So let me close this, and this is my live server. It shows student registration form. I'm just going to put it in 110 or 100. This is my heading. This is not coming in the center. So what I'm going to do, I can either write text align center, or what I can do, I can also use one of the tag, which is center tag. Okay. So you can use this tag as well. This tag is deprecated. Basically, you can't use this tag, but it does work. So if you can see, it does work. Okay. But the only thing is that it is deprecated. That means center, you can use text align. So don't use it as a tag, right? That's what is nothing but it is red here, right? So it's fine. Even then we are just using it so that we can see the text in the center. That's fine. Let's move ahead. Let's write something else. So we have one horizontal line, right? And then after that we have the label, and in that we are writing first name. Okay, this first name I'm just going to keep it like this because this is only the label, and after that we are going to create our input. Now understand that I'm not giving any foreign ID because I don't want to give foreign ID here, but in the radio button I will surely give foreign ID because there it's a must need, right? So in input I'm just going to give type text because it's just first name. This is not a password and all. And here I'm going to just give name as first name. Why name? Because I hope you know and remember this here, name, right? So the name is that name which will get stored in the server. That's how it's gonna store the value. So it's gonna store the value in this first name and not in this first name. Okay. So name equal to first name, and I'm also going to put here size. I'm going to give size here 10. Okay, let's see what is happening basically till now. There are some new things which I have introduced here, so you need to see. Now if you see here, it is giving me first name and the size is 10, right? What if I increase the size? If I increase the size, this is gonna give me something bigger. What is bigger, the text box or the space? Let's understand that. So basically what is happening? The text box is getting bigger, right? But now understand, when I go to my project, this is really very bigger and it's taking the whole width, right? So it's taking the whole width. Now, is it important to give the width or size in HTML itself? Or is it fine to give the size in our width? That means in CSS. Width equal to 100%. Do you remember? We used to give width equal to 100% to show that it is taking the whole size of the screen. So it's not important to give here size equal to 20 because any which ways I have to give CSS of width 100%, right? So it's not important to give here this, okay? But placeholder is required. Now what is placeholder? Placeholder is that thing which I told you in my project, right? When I was showing you the project, I told you that if you look here, you have this placeholder. This is called as placeholder. You can see your middle name is just written in some gray color, some very light gray color. That's what is placeholder. Placeholder means it's just a placeholder. It won't do anything. It is just there to show you and indicate you that what you have to write there. I have to write your middle name. I have to write your first name. That's what it is showing me. That's what a placeholder is. So let's go back, and here I'm going to write first name. Cool. So this is my placeholder which I have written. And next what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it required. Why required? Because anyone can just not put any detail and they can be able to submit it. So I don't want that. I want them to fill every detail. That's why I've written required. In the same way, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do duplicate of this for middle name and last name. So let's say here middle name, last name. So I just have to change these things. So I'm gonna take it like this. Okay, and in the same manner I'm going to do it for this also. This will be my last name, and then we will see our output, what is happening. So I'm going to save this. Let's go back to my browser and let's understand what is happening there. So this is my form, and you can see it's just giving me first name, middle name and last name, right? It's all in the same line. Even I have not given any BR tag here so that this comes down, right? Why? I'll tell you later on, because maybe in CSS, I will write something which will make it right in a next line. Okay. So we will do that later, not now, but right now I've just written, I'm just writing all the informations which I require. Fine. Any doubts still here? Please let me know, because we have just started. I'm just going to hide this so that you can see the whole code. This was not needed. So some more space will come. Okay. So next what I'm going to do is, we are done with our last name. So after this, we need something else. We also need one label of course where we will be using select an option tag. So here I'm going to put one label. I'm going to put here course. And then I'm going to put here, let's say, the select and option tag. So I'm going to use select and I'm going to use here option, right? And in the option, I'm going to write some of the options. So in the label, I have written course. That means which course you want to choose, right? So first of all, in the option, I'll keep course itself, because I don't want to directly show the user what are the courses, right? So at first, I'm going to give this value itself. I'm not going to change it. I'll give it course itself. So the first value should be course itself. And from the next, I'm going to change all of the things. So let's say I've given these many courses. So first one, let's say, is BCA, right? The next one, let's say, is BBA. The next one is, let's say, BTech. And the next one is, let's say, MBA. The next one is MCA. And the next one is MTech. So these are the courses which I have given here. And I have to paste it also in my value. I'm just going to do that. If you guys are doing it with me, then it's perfect, because I know that you guys are just if you guys are just watching, then it's not going to fetch you anything. If you're doing it with me, you will understand where the error is, why yours is not working, mine is working. Those all test cases you will find live, right? And that's why this session is also going live. Okay, now I can delete this and I can paste it. Okay, done. So my all select and options tags are done. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to save it and let's see what is happening and how is it showing me in my Chrome. So you can see here that it's coming line by line and it's showing me codes, and I can see all my codes. So I can choose any of the codes. The idea was to give the first as course because it is selecting the course itself, right? So it's not going to show me anything right away. That is why I wrote there course. Fine. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start. Okay, now understand. See here that this is the first div, right? Correct. Let me show you the browser. Let me show you the output how I want it, the project how I want it, right? So as you can see here, this is my first div, right? And then we have this all things, right? We have this all things. But do you think that this should also be inside one div? The whole form. And the another thing is this one, it should be in another div, right? So what I'm going to do, this div we have already written. So after this, I'm going to start a new div, and inside this div, I'm going to put all my content. Okay, all the tags whichever I'm writing, I'll be writing inside this particular div. So this div is another container and this div is another container. One container is for the heading and one container is only for all the tags which I'm writing. Okay, so let's get into the another one. So let me show you what is next. The next is gender with the radio buttons. So that's what I need to put, and then the phone number, right? So let's do that. इंडिया वर्सेस पाकिस्तान खेल देखो सर, पढ़ाना है भाई, थोड़ा बहुत पढ़ भी लेते हैं, मैच तो चलते रहेगा. Okay, why used name? Pre-tech, I'll tell you why we use name. I hope you can see my code. So name is basically, see, whenever you create a form, suppose you have created a form, okay, and you have given to me. So I am filling that form and then I am clicking on submit, right? So when I click on submit, what happens? That form filled which I have done, those all information, those all data will get saved, right? With they all will that all data will get saved somewhere, or it will go somewhere in the another page, or maybe in backend, maybe in the server. Somewhere those all data have to be go, right? Now when those data will go, how it will go? It'll go in a key and a value pair. So let's say that your name, what you have given is Soham, right? So I'm going to write here first name, and then it's gonna take it like this. And the next data which is gonna take is age, let's say 28. This is how the data is transferred. This is how the data is actually gone from front end to back end. Okay. Now this is a key and this is a value, right? Now this key, how it came? Because I've written here name. Okay. This name is this key. So name is basically that name which is gonna take your value and take it to the server or the backend. So do not think that this first name is my name, how it's gonna store. No. Let me show you something. So let's say if you have not seen my earlier videos of forms, that's why you're asking this question, because I've clearly explained this in this project in this way. So here whenever I was submitting any form, right, it was taking and it was showing me where it is getting saved. So just wait, when I'll put the register button, I think then also you can understand what is happening, right? So don't worry about that. I hope you have understood what is name. If not, then just wait for register button. I think then also you can understand. So we are done with select. We are done with this one. Now let's move ahead. Let's move ahead to another part, which is our radio button. So let's create that. So we are done with our select, right? Let's give this here. And after this, we are going to give a label. In this label, we are just going to write here gender. And to this gender, we are going to mention our input type radio. So I'm going to write here input type radio. And in the type radio, my some value will be there. So first of all, the first value which I'm giving is male. Now understand, the name and the value which I'm giving here is for the server. These name and value data is for the server. The white color things is for the user. Understand, all the white color things which is given here is for the user. The user will be able to see everything what is colored here as a white color. Okay. And the value and the name is for the server, is for the backend, is for the database. So here I'm going to give name as gender. I'm going to write here checked, so that by default, this is, I hope you have understood this, because this I've already explained you a day before yesterday. So this is my whole thing. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy and paste this 2 times, because I have one for female and I have one for other. Okay. I can't put all of them checked because I want only one of them to be checked. Any one of them can be chosen. So I'm just keeping that. And the next female, and here I'm going to put other. Okay. Fine. This is done. Let's save this. Now you will think that, sir, you have not used for an ID, because day before yesterday, sir, you told me that we will use ID and for, so that multiple selection should not happen in radio. Whenever you are using for an ID, we make sure that we use this for an ID so that single selection should happen in the radio, right? If you do not write for an ID, multiple selections can be done. And in radio button, you can't do multiple selections, correct? But here also we have not written anything. We have not written the for an ID. Then also, let's see what's happening. So if I save this and if I show you my browser, the server, you can see here that we have gender and the male is having by default already selected because we have written there checked. And if I select this, you can see still it is not having multiple selections, right? Why is it not having multiple selections? Let me make you understand. So in my day before yesterday code, I wrote here name, right? And in all the names, here all the names were same, right? It also has two things. Either your for and ID should match, or either your name should match. You can see your name. See, for and ID is also telling me that you're in the same group, and name is also telling me that you're in the same group. So this is one group, this thing. This is a language group, right? Because all the names are same for all those three. Same thing we are doing here. The names are same for all those three, right? So that's because of this name, that thing is selecting only one option. If you do not write the name, it's going to select multiple options. Let me show you. So suppose if I remove from other, right? Let's save this. Let's go back. Let's choose other. You can see male is also clicked and other is also clicked. So now it is having multiple selections, right? So that's the thing. You have to use here the same name so that things won't differ. I'm gonna save this, going to this, and now again single selection will happen. Okay, fine. Now that you have understood the radio, let's code it for phone. So let's code for the phone. I'm going to go to my registration form here. After this other, I'm going to do the code for phone. Okay, so here again label, again phone, and in the phone I want some things. First of all, I want one input type text, so that only the phone code can be written. Okay, so type text, and the type text I want that it should have country code. So country code, placeholder will be the country code, so that anybody can understand. Okay, I have to write here the country code. And the next thing what I'm going to write here is the value. So I'm going to give here value plus 91. Now understand, this value is a string. And then we are going to, okay, size is not required, so let's leave that. So these are the things which we have written here, and let's see how this is appearing. Okay, now you can see here that I have not given any white color thing, right? That means I have not written any text which I want it to show to the user, but I've written value. So this value will be shown. So let's see how this is appearing in my server. You can see phone and then you have plus 91. You can write something else here, but I don't need it because it's just the country code. So I'm just keeping it fixed, right? I'm just keeping it fixed. If I remove this, you have the country code. So by default, there's an Indian country code, but if you're from somewhere else, then you can write their country code here. Okay. Now we have given the country code. So now we need one more input for our phone number, right? So for our phone number, what we'll do, we'll write our next thing. So that is type text, and then here we are going to write about name, which is phone, the phone number, right? And then the placeholder, we are going to keep here phone number, and then the next thing we are going to put here is required, because without filling the phone number, nobody is gonna walk away. Okay, that's the another thing. Now we are going to put one more label, and this time this is for current address. I'm going to increase my speed because we have the CSS also, so just speeding it up. I hope you can understand because these things are already known by you. And here I'm going to give the text area because address can be bigger, so I'm just putting here the calls as 80 and the rows as 5. The next thing is placeholder. So I'm going to just place a holder. I'm going to put current address. And the next thing, value. From the beginning, it should be just address. Okay, this is also required. Okay, now this is the text area, so anybody can write anything. Right now I'm not writing anything because I've already given the value. The value is address, right? So just keeping it empty. The next thing which I want to write is the email. So I'm going to put here label, and to the label I'm going to give for email. I'm going to write here email so that anybody can understand that I have to give your email. And then here I'm going to give input. In input, I'm going to give type, and you know that we have an email, so we're going to put email here. The placeholder I'm going to put here as email ID, and name I'm going to put here as email, plus this is also required. Okay, let's save this. Till now we have done so many things and we have not seen our page, so let's see how this looks like. You have the text area and you have the email ID where you can write only the emails which you will give. Okay, let's come back and we are going to complete this soon. Sir, should we focus more on making site responsive or we should focus on JavaScript? JavaScript is basically used in both the cases as a client side and server side. Client side in the sense that you should use it in a way how you can enhance your website to make it responsive, and also you can use JavaScript as a backend, right? Just how you use Python in the backend and C programming language in the backend, correct? So it depends on you how you are interested. Let's say that I am interested in making websites, so I will use JavaScript to create websites, to create and to make our web page responsive. Okay, so you can focus more on making the web page responsive, okay, but also have all the knowledge about JavaScript, because all the frameworks and libraries which you are going to learn later will depend on JavaScript. So if you don't know JavaScript, clearly if you don't know JavaScript, then the next path is gonna be hard and difficult. Okay, all values are male. All values are male. Oh, sorry. Yes, thank you so much for that, free tech. All values will not be male. I think I missed it. This is gonna be different because values are going to the server, to the backend. So even if you see what will happen if I've done that mistake. See, if I've written male, right? So in my registration form, if my user is also choosing female, right? He is thinking that I've chosen female, but the value which is going to the backend is male. So yeah, this is wrong. I have to put here female and I have to put here others. That's a miss from my end. Where I will get these codes after finishing the class. If you want all these codes are really easy and you can type it while watching the video. Okay, but if you're requesting you want this code, see, basically the project code you will get. This codes you won't get. This was the code which is not a project. This was just for explaining. The project codes you can get in Telegram, the Telegram channel. Okay, so I'll be putting it in a Google Drive, and that drive I'll share it with you, where you'll get all the HTML links and the CSS links. The first project which I did, that also, and this form project also. Okay, so let's get started for our code after email. What is the next thing? Let me see the web page. Okay, so email is done. I think we have written till email. So after this, we have the password. So again, I'm going to just put password here for PSW. Again, this is not required. For is not required. It will work, but for just in case, I'm just giving it. Okay. Here I'm going to just give input. Type I'm going to give password because we already have this kind of attribute, so we can use it. Placeholder I'm going to give here as password again. I'll just make this placeholder as capital E. Okay. The next is also I'm going to give here name PSW, the same which is given in the for, and I'm going to give here required. Okay, cool. Again, we have to do the repeat password. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it. I'm just going to write here repeat password. So password repeat, and the same thing I'm going to paste it in my other code as well here. Cool. uh Type password, repeat password. Okay, now this is also required, and then at last we have to put one button. So I'm just going to put one button. Understand that I'm not giving input type equal to submit because that's going to create a submit button. So I'm using button because I don't want submit to be written. So here submit, and then I'm going to give a class. Why I'm giving a class? Because you must have seen that the registration button was actually green in color, right? So I'm just doing that. So let's say register btn. This is my class which I've given, and also I'm going to write here register. Okay, so this is my button done. My all forms are done. Let's go ahead and let's see my output. How is it appearing right now? This is the whole thing which we have done, but it's look very unorganized, and it's not. You don't want to give this registration form publicly because nobody will try to even fill this form because it's very complicated to fill. It's not very attractive, and also it's not good how user is going to experience this web page, right? So now we are going to write our css for this. Now to write our css, what we have to do, because the css is very less, so what we are going to do, we are going to use internal css only. We are not going to prepare a external css, okay, because the css is less. So I'm going to use it here in the same file. Okay, if the css will be bigger, then I would have created a new external css file. Sir, will you be writing the css as well? Yes, I am doing it. Deepak Prajapat, yes sir, is easy. Yeah, right now till here it was easy because it was all about forms, but now we are moving into css. Every time when we move into css, we do trial and error, so we need to understand that all styles which we will do. Okay, so please try to understand, and every time whenever I write one code in css, I will show you what is happening in the browser so that you check out actually what's happening behind, what's happening when I'm writing anything else, right? So here let's get started with our style. So I'm using an internal style sheet. Do not get confused where I'm writing the code. Okay, first of all, to the body I'm going to give some css. So I'm going to give here font family because the font I want to change here. Okay, so I'm just going to give here Calibri, and also the second one which I'll give is Helvetica, and the third one I'll use sans serif. You can use Arial also. I'm just using Calibri right now. Okay, this is my font family, and I'm also going to change my background color to pink. Let's save this and let's see my browser what is happening there. So if you look at this right now, you can see the font style has been changed and the background is pink in color, right? That's what we have done till now. Let's move ahead. Let's see what is next. So if you look here, once again, here in this div, I'm going to give a class. I'm going to just put here container. Okay, and in this container, I will try to give some of the properties, CSS properties. Because it's a class, I'm going to use dot, and here I'm going to give some of the things. Why is it showing error? Okay, it's not showing any error. Right, so I'm going to give here padding. What is padding? And remember that I'm not giving padding top, bottom, left or right. I'm just giving padding. That means this 50 pixel will be provided in all the areas. Okay, and I'm also going to give here background color. I'm going to give here background color which will be, let's say, light blue. Cool. Let's save this and let's see what is happening. So if I go back, if I show you this, so you can observe here that the div is making this student registration form as blue, right? But was it the same in my project? Was it the same? No, right? This blue thing is all over my page till down at last. Correct? So what went wrong here? What do you think what went wrong here? Why this div is actually taking my, why this div is only colored? Why not the other part? Right? So let's understand that. Now if I go here and if I do, okay, if I do view page source, right? Now here you can see div class container, and this div is gonna close at the last, at the end. Okay, so the div is the problem in my case. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come to my code, and because this container, this div container is taking the whole thing, I'm going to remove it from here and I'm going to give it after my button. Okay, let's save this, and now let's see to my code what is happening. If I go here, now the blue color is all over my face. So that div which I wrote should be completely taking it, and that's what I've done. Okay, now let's come back to our code and let's do some other styling. So after container, I'm going to write something else. So let's see. Now understand how you have to give styles in your form. So here I'm writing input, okay, and in this I'm giving a square bracket. I'm going to write type, and to the type I'm going to give here text, okay, comma. When I have given comma, when do you use comma? When you give which kind of selector? You give group selector. If you remember, I have also taught you types of selectors. In that I've taught you what is group selector, and in group selector you group all the things together and then you give the same properties to those grouped tags, right? So here what I'm doing, I want the things, the properties in my type equal to text, in my type equal to email, in my type equal to password, okay, and also in the text area. In all these, in all these areas, in all these places, I want similar kind of CSS. Okay, so input type text is what? All of these things which you have written. Input type email is what? The email part. Password is this one, and text area is the text area one, right? So in all of these things, I want some of these similar tags. What do I want? I want width to be 100%. Okay, the input, don't think about the other tags, the input and the text area, right? Think about only that. If I've given width 100%, let's have a look what is happening. So if I go back to my browser, only those input areas are width 100%. What are input? The text boxes. What is text area? The text box, right? Register is not happening because register is a button, right? So that's why it is not happening, correct? And see here, if I'm registering, it says please fill out this field because I've written required for there, right? Okay, understood. Now what next property I'll give here, let's understand that. So the next property which I'm giving here is padding. I want some space, so I'm giving here padding. I'm giving 15 pixel. The next thing which I want, let's say margin. Now understand how I'm giving the margin. The margin how I'm giving is from the top, I want only 5 pixel. Okay, so the distance between two tags should be 5 pixel. From the left, oh no, sorry, right. From the right, I want only 0. From the bottom, I want 22 pixel. And from the right, again, I want 0 pixel. Let's save this. Let's see what is happening in my browser. So if you look here, half of the thing is already done, right? So you have similar gap, similar quantity of gap, and you have all these things ready only with using padding and margin. Only to where? Only to these things, right? So we've given padding, when we have given all the things, then this is created. Now let's understand what is the next part. So let's go back. See, required symbol not showing. What required? Can you elaborate, free tech? What is the question? Is it a question or you're just saying something? Please let me know because I'm confused with the comment, okay? Okay, so next what I'm going to do, I'm going to display it as an inline block. You all know what is an inline block. It comes as a block. In the first CSS project, I've taught you what is this. Border, I don't want to give anything, so I'm just keeping it none. And the background which I'm giving here, it as, let's say I'm giving it as F1, F1. Cool. So let's save this and let's have a look what is happening in my browser. Okay. So now you can see that there is some changes. You can see that the display is now an inline block. So you can see when I'm clicking, it is an inline block. It's now forming a block. There's no border and anything which I'm getting in my input. It's all complete empty. There's nothing, there's no decoration. Okay. Let's move ahead. So input type text we have seen. And now we will do something for my focus. So let's understand what is focus. In our previous project, we have seen how to hover your mouse, right? So once your mouse is hovered into something, the color changes, right? That's what is called as pseudo classes. I've explained you about this. Pseudo classes is what? When you have your mouse and you're hovering into a button, the button color will change, right? Same thing we will use here. So we'll use input, okay? And we will try it in our type text, in all the type text. So let's copy it from here directly because this is what I want. So I'm going to copy this from here. Input type text, I'm going to give here focus. The same thing I'm going to give for all of them. So for email also and for password also. And here what I'm going to give, I'm going to change the color. So I'm going to give here orange. The next what I'm going to do, outline, I'll give none because I don't want any extra things to happen here. So let's go back to my browser and let's see whether the focus is happening or not. Focus means when you're focusing, when you're clicking, not hovering. See, I'm hovering, nothing is happening because I've not used hover. I've done focus. So focus means when you click. When I'm clicking in all of them, this is becoming orange. See, in the list I did not write text area, so it's not happening in text area. But in all others, it is happening. So let's include that also. I'll include text area also here. Cool. Any questions? Sir, why are you not making the site responsive? Sir, please make it responsive. That would be much better. RB, basically the thing is JavaScript is not completed yet. And that's why I'm not making it responsive. If I make it responsive right now, what will happen? Many of the people will not understand. JavaScript is only done till strings, right? I have not even completed a function. If I complete function, then I can be able to make the web pages responsive, right? But right now the events, anything else will not happen here. So that's why I'm not making it responsive. But yes, all the projects which I'm creating will be responsive once half of the portion of JavaScript is completed. So do not worry. There will be a lot of projects which will be responsive. Okay. So, but you have to wait for it. This is for beginner level. I'm starting from scratch. That is why I'm not showing you first how to make it responsive. First, I'm just using normal HTML and CSS. So using the CSS only, we can make it responsive. How we can make it responsive using only CSS? We can use transition or animation. Are you saying using of transform, transition and animation? Then please let me know. Okay, now let's go ahead to the div. I'm giving here padding. Padding I'm going to give top and bottom 10 pixel and left and right 0. Not going to save this, just going to open it, and here also it's not saved. Right now I'm saving it, and here you can see that there was some shift here, right? Also, if you see, this particular HR is white in color, but in mine it's not white, right? So let's code for that. Once again, you can't see the screen, right? Yeah, here you can see this HR is basically white in color, but here it's not, correct? So I need to do that. Let's understand how to do that, how you can make your HR also white. So what I have to do, I have to just do a simple thing. I have to write here HR and I have to just give a border. Border will be 1 pixel, very small, solid and white in color. So I'm just going to give here white. The next thing what I'm going to give here is I'm going to give margin bottom so that there should be some space, and this should be 25 pixel. Okay, not gonna save this. Let's go to our browser first. Now when I save this, have a look in the HR, the horizontal line. So you can see it's having a margin and it is also white in color. Okay, the next thing what I'm going to do is the last part, which is our register, right? So for register also we have to do something. So for register, what we are going to do, we are going to make it colored, right? So, and also bigger. So we'll do some coding for this because already we have given a class for it. Before that, have a look at this. This is one error which is happening here, right? So let's make this phone also go down. How we can do that? Directly just write here. BR. It's gonna come down. Let's give one more BR. Okay, cool. So this is done, if you can see, right? Let's move ahead and let's do the CSS for our register button, and then I think we'll be done. Okay, so for register button, what we'll do, first of all, it's a class, so we'll write here register btn, and here what I'm going to do, I'm going to give a background color. First of all, background color should be green, so I'm just going to write green. Let's say green itself. And the next thing what I'm going to give, color, the text color, it should be white. So just going to give white. I'm going to give one padding. The padding area I'm just going to give from top 16 pixel and from left and right 20 pixel. Let's see what is happening. Going to my browser, register button is down. Let's save this, and this is how it's looking like. Still the width is not proper. The width is not 100%, right? So let's do that. So let's come to the code. Here what I'm going to do, I'm going to give a margin 8 pixel 0, and then the next is border. I don't want to give anything, so none. And also the cursor. Now understand what is cursor. Cursor, you can change how the cursor looks like. So I'm not going to save this. I just go to browser, and now I'm going to save. Have a look right now what is happening. The cursor is not changing. Can you see? The cursor is not changing. So right now, let's save this, saving it, and now the cursor is changed. Can you see? So that is what is cursor pointer. Okay, so cursor will now point. That's what is your cursor pointer. The next thing is important one, which is width. I'm going to give here 100%, and the last thing I'm going to give here opacity. I don't want any opacity, not even one, so I'm going to put 0.0. Okay, now let's see what is happening. So I'm going to go to my browser. If you look at this, let's say this is the one, right? Now if I save this, it will become 100%. Once again. Okay, now you can see it is 100%, but it is not visible, right? The reason why it is not visible is something which is in opacity. The opacity, how much I've given? I've given 0.0. So it's there. You can see the button is changing, the cursor is changing. So it's there, but it's not visible because opacity is 0.0. So opacity we can put here 0.9. And now if I go and if I save this, you'll be able to see the thing, right? So that's what is opacity 0.9. 0.91 is similar. It's just gonna fade. So if you want to make it more fade, you can put something like that. Come back. Let's save this. Let's see our last code which we have to see, which is the hovering effect. So what I'm going to do in the register button, I want an hovering effect. So I'm going to put here register btn, and here I'm going to give hover. Hover means just similar to focus, but in focus you have to click, in hover you have to hover your mouse. So I'm going to give here opacity. Opacity, I'll make it 1. Okay, here I'll give 8. Okay, now let's go to my browser and have a look how is it appearing now. I've not saved the program. Now I'm saving it. You can see this is 0.8. So if I hover, it becomes 1. Can you see the change? The dark and the light color. That's what is hover. So that's how we have completed our registration form. This is the project. And also this again we will do using JavaScript, so that when you fill this, this should register. Now if I fill first name, middle name, last name, course, if I choose let's say phone number I'm writing here, current address, email ID, password. Now what it's gonna do, it's gonna register, but it's gonna give me error where in the email. So I have to use @ I have to use again .com also, right? So that's what gonna happen. Okay, this was my project. Now let's go back, and this was the code for it. So if you want to get this code, what you have to do, you have to join our Telegram channel. The Telegram channel link is already given in the description. You can join by clicking on the link which is given in the description. Okay. Okay, let's read something, some live question. I will not make set responses and make it responsive. Like using flex model and relative units. Yeah, so RB, those things are not taught yet. People will get confused if I don't use those. If I directly use those things, right? Flex and transition, transform, animation, flexbox, those all things are not taught yet. So don't worry, I'm going to use this and I'm going to train you first. First, I'm going to prepare a tutorial on that, and then we'll do some projects on it. Right? So thank you so much guys for joining. I hope you really liked this session. Please do hit like if you have already liked the session, and also please share it with your relatives and your friends so that they also get this free content, and also they can watch my live session regularly on this playlist which is on Frontend Development. Also do not forget to subscribe the channel. Please hit the notification bell so that you get notifications in your YouTube as well, right? Thank you so much guys. I'll meet you really soon at 9:20, okay, because at that time I'm coming with my next topics, which are HTML multimedias. So we are going to see how to include all the other things as well. Okay, thank you guys. Bye bye, take care, have your dinner and come back.